All right. For those of you on Zoom, welcome. We're glad that you're here. For those of you that are on Facebook, welcome. We're glad you're here as well. For those of you that are listening to this later, either on the video or on the podcast, welcome all those places. This is our weekly webinar that we do on dental marketing, and we discuss different topics that are significant and can create better marketing systems for yourself and your practice. This is a great opportunity for you to gather some information. Some of this is kind of general information. Some of you may not have, as an example, today we're talking about senior citizen marketing. Maybe you don't have very many senior citizens in your area. Maybe you're downtown, you've got thriving young people, whatever, that are at your practice, and that's who you're talking to. Or maybe you don't want to target senior citizens. That could be the case as well. In any case, I think there are some practices, well, frankly, I think a lot of practices in parts of the country that don't target senior citizens because they don't feel like they know how, and they lose out on that segment of the population that could be extremely powerful for them. So again, it's going to give you an opportunity to provide some marketing value and some marketing ideas possibly that you'll be able to deploy for your practice. Let me go ahead and share my PowerPoint here. I've got a super offensive screen that's going to pop up here first, so don't be too alarmed by it. I think sometimes this is kind of how a lot of people see senior citizens. You know, they see them as these people who don't know how to use the computer. They don't know how to really communicate with people of that age. And it's a shame, frankly, because there's a lot of opportunity there. And if we're going to try to break some of those misconceptions that, frankly, a lot of people have when it comes to their marketing and comes to their working with that segment of senior citizens, again, I think there's some great opportunities here. Let me just kind of finish up here with my. Let's see. We'll get the, bear with me just for 2 seconds. We get all our technology rolling here. All right. Okay. So that's our opportunity. We're going to talk about senior citizens. And as you're going through this, or as I'm talking about these topics, I want you to consider what is it that you're doing in your marketing or not doing in your marketing, or maybe do some of these misconceptions apply to you and your practice and the way that you've written your philosophy for your market. So again, I've got this offensive meme here. Hey, I don't want to open a window. It's already cold in here. Obviously, that's not the case. So let me kind of give you a little bit of background actually before I go into some of these misconceptions. So I started my career working at a senior. So this was kind of a retirement community. This was about 20 years ago. And the community was just for people that were of retirement age. As you may or may not know, that's one of the segments that you can discriminate against. And so you can create have a special permission from the government to say that we're only going to have people of a certain age live in this community. And when I started there back, and this was about year 2000, 1999, something like that, we were really targeting the World War II generation. That was the main retirees at that point. And those were the people that we were talking to, and those were the people that we were selling houses to. About, I would say, 2006, 2007, we started to see a pretty big change from the World War II generation to the baby boomers. And I'm not going to get too deep into it here, but there's a dramatic difference between a baby boomer and a World War II is talking psychographically, what it is that they value, what it is that they are spending their money on, where they want to have their time. As an example, when we were building the community for the World War II generation, we had all of the activities in the community. We had the big activity center, we had, the pickleball and the tennis courts and the golf and all those things. And it was just there in the community. And not that baby boomers don't enjoy those things, but what we found is that baby boomers were much more apt to want to do things outside of the community. They wanted to go hiking, they wanted to go fishing, they wanted to ride their Harley Davidsons, they wanted to do all these things outside of the community. So our message from our marketing had to change quite a bit from what we're doing internally to what we're doing externally for the community. Now, the lesson in there is that you have to really keep your finger on the psychographics of what's happening in your community and with your people, because it does change. Every 5 years or so, you're going to get some new attitudes, some new values, that kind of thing. That's why those psychographic reports are so important and so valuable in a marketing sense. And again, many of you have worked with me on that stuff over at Dr. Demographics. So anyway, so let's talk about some of the misconceptions, the truths, the falses, some of those things. So the first one is that senior citizens are in a minority. This is something I hear all the time. This is absolutely false, and I think probably most of you know that. There's actually 76 million baby boomers in the United States, which are turning 65, which actually puts them in the majority. And so for many parts of the country, if you're not targeting, excuse me, if you don't have some kind of marketing initiative targeted towards the baby boomers in your area, you very well may be missing the largest segment of people who, by the way, have lots of money, or not lots of money, but they have money, they have the time, they have some of those things. You're missing out on that opportunity. The other thing, like I was talking about before, many of these people are postponing retirement. Many baby boomers did not do the 40 years, 30 years, and the gold watch at the end. That, as you know, that industry has changed dramatically. There's not just, you bring your tools to the factory and work all day. Those kind of jobs have matured. They've changed dramatically. And so many baby boomers are consultants, or they are teachers, or they are different things. And so they're really postponing their retirement, and many of which have zero desire to ever retire. And so you need to kind of, the old couple at the golf course sipping an iced tea is not really the imagery that a baby boomer in many cases is going to identify with. And so that needs to play into the type of messaging and imagery that you're using in your marketing. The other thing is that seniors, which is, by the way, that word is a dirty word. When people that are over 65, they don't want to be called senior citizens. They want to be called active adults or something like that. But they are desperate to hold on to any youth as long as they possibly can. In other words, they always see themselves as 10 to 15 years younger than what they actually are. So again, if you have the landing page on your website that's talking specifically about senior citizens, and you have somebody that looks like an old decrepit grandma and grandpa, even if that is exactly what the people look like, they don't see themselves looking like that. They see themselves as vibrant and active and at least 10 to 15 years younger than what they actually are. And so if you're marketing to a 65-year-old, guess what age of person you're going to use in your imagery? You're going to use somebody in their early 50s. That's just how people see themselves at that stage of life. And so if you use the gray-haired imagery, you're probably going to alienate them, and they will see that as, oh, that's too old for me. That's not what I'm really looking for. So very, very important key when it comes to marketing to senior citizens is that you do not use you do not use some of those things. And again, you'll be able to see, as you look at your competition, you can tell who understands this concept and who does not. Okay, let's look at our next myth. And that is that senior citizens are technologically challenged or computer phobic. Now, when I started working with and marketing to senior citizens, this was partially true, but again, this was 20 years ago. So think about, in the last 20 years, that means that baby boomers have had a good portion, sometimes half or more of their career, they had to use technology. And the other thing is that likely with the career that they had, they were probably in a more managerial or executive type position. And so they had to use it a lot, and they had to know how to use it. And they had to know how to use a spreadsheet and all those different things. And so it is absolutely false that baby boomers are computer phobic. They've been using computers for a very long time. And again, it doesn't take too long of a search on Google to find the growth rate. It doesn't matter if it's Facebook, Instagram, even YouTube. All of those trends show that one of the fastest growing groups is that baby boomer segment. And so do not think or do not misconstrue that just because they are that age does not mean that they don't know how to use the computer. Yes, they may not know how to, work the guts of the computer or some of those new things or whatever. But as far as accessing a website, understanding technology, and expecting technology to be part of their experience is something you better nail in your marketing. Understand that they are going to be attracted to that technology, an online appointment thing, an appointment reminder. Some of those things is something that they are going to appreciate because they used it likely in their life. Now, the one caveat to that is that they do prefer the brick and mortar shopping experience. So they still are the kind of person that, yes, they may browse online, but ultimately they are going to come in and they are going to want that tactile feel of the thing that they purchased. That is still true, at least for the senior market for today. So that's a great advantage to you dentists out there, because you can essentially convince them online that you are the right option for them. And then they're going to come in and they're going to meet you, and you're going to be able to close a deal at that point. So very, very important is that you understand that concept. The other part about that is that may change over time. And what I usually tell doctors is that that they may not make their final decision based on your website or what they see online, but they probably can eliminate you. And so if you have somebody that moves to town, they're of that age, they're going to access 5 or 6 different websites, look at different doctors, what they're presenting, and they may not make their final decision until they make that phone call or stop in the office, but they will eliminate 3 or 4 of those options from their websites. And so again, a huge misnomer is that I don't need to have that good of a website. My market's not seeing it anyways. Totally not true. As it is true for Facebook, frankly. If you don't have an active Facebook and you're targeting seniors, and you think those seniors aren't going to see what you have or don't have on that Facebook feed, can really sink you as a practice. The other thing is that they really want their information up front. They're too smart for the bait and switch. They've been down that road. And so you've got to make sure that you understand, again, looking back at those psychographic profiles, what it is that's going to turn the crank of those senior citizens. You're not going to be able to do a bait and switch type offer that you might do for somebody that's younger, that's going to be attracted to something like that. Building trust is huge. I always tell doctors, man, the best way to build trust, specifically if you're a foreign doctor, is video. Frankly, that is the best way that you can look into their eyes through the computer screen. They can hear your voice. They can, doesn't matter how hard your name is to pronounce. They can see that you speak good English or whatever it is that you're trying to do. That's an important key. And so building trust through video is one of the best ways that you can reach, frankly, not only seniors, but every market segment. And so that is for seniors, it's a huge deal for them. The last thing is that you have to have a very simple and clear path on your website. If you have too many clicks, if they have to really go hunt and peck for your offer to figure out exactly what the details are or whatever, you're going to lose them. You'll lose them really, really quick. And so 2, maybe 3 clicks at the very, very max. If you've talked to me, you know I'm a huge fan of utilizing landing pages. So there is no, well, they click the ad, but after that, there is no other clicks. until we have their information. So that is something that's key when you're developing your online presence, your websites and whatnot, is that you keep those clicks to a minimum, especially for senior citizens, if that's the market that you're going after. Okay, so the next thing that we hear sometimes is that senior citizens have no brand loyalty. Meaning that they're just going to go from one offer to the next. They're not going to stay true or loyal to a practice. This is absolutely false. Senior citizens by far are way more loyal than millennials. Now, the one disadvantage is that they're not going to live as long, right? So your potential lifetime value may not be as high, but again, most baby boomers are healthier than any other segment has been up to that point. They have more money. And as you know, their dental needs are going to be increasing as they age. And so it's a great opportunity for you to build that trust, like we talked about before, and have them have really good brand loyalty for you and your practice. Keep in mind that your fads and the trends and that kind of stuff, they don't impact seniors quite the same. And so some of these new things that they're seeing commercials on, the Smile Direct Smile Club, some of those things, seniors aren't going to really do that or not in great numbers. And so you have an opportunity to keep that patient where they need to be with the right treatment plans and very loyal to your practice for a long time. Okay, let's talk about a misconception number 4, that senior citizens won't buy anything unless there's a discount. Huge false. Just not true at all. They do need to see the value correlation to the price that they are paying. Something that's very important. As a matter of fact, as upfront as you can be about that, I find to be the better. And so if you are working with that segment, marketing to that segment, have a landing page on your website specific to that segment, make sure that value price correlation is very, very clear, and there's not going to be any hidden costs, because again, they'll see that bait and switch really easy. And if it's not clear, they're going to wonder, what is that hidden cost that I'm going to have to pay for this particular offer? And you'll likely lose them. They would rather pay more and have it be clear and not feel like that they're going to be, there's some kind of hidden, whatever that's going to happen. They will absolutely pay for a premium treatment if there is that clear connection. And the other side is that they're at a stage of their life when they will respond to a lifestyle enhance. They will respond to, hey, you know what? You're tired of feeling pain every time you bite down on something. You're tired of not having the confidence because of a missing tooth, or they're worn, or a variety of problems. If you can show them a really clear connection of that value and price, and they're going to have a greater lifestyle because of the price that they're going to pay, oftentimes that they will absolutely pay that price. And which really leads us to myth number 5, and that is that they're just too cheap to spend on expensive treatment. World War II generation was cheap. They had to be. Many of them lived through the Depression. They grew up in households that had no money, that sacrificed greatly. And God bless them. They sacrificed greatly for this country. But they were a little bit more tight-fisted when it comes to money. Baby boomers, not so much. Baby boomers will pay the money that they need to have their lifestyle be enhanced. This misconception is absolutely false. As a matter of fact, the seniors right now, so those that are just turning 65, they're the biggest spenders according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, meaning that not only do they have the money, but they're also spending. It's an exciting thing for marketers and retailers and professionals like you, so that you can get into that wallet a little bit. I mean, not in a bad way, but you can provide a service for them that they're going to spend their money on, and they're going to pay the price that they need to. Keep in mind that more baby boomers who enter their senior years, the more money that's spent on the economy. That wave of baby boomers is still increasing. It's still massive. And so the next 10 years is going to be extremely good for practices who have figured out how to market to baby boomers successfully. It is great job security for you as those people continue to enter that market. And so even if you're not focused on that group now, maybe you need to do a couple of tweaks, a few Facebook ads, that kind of thing, to really be able to start looking at the potential of that market. And keep in mind, generally they're healthier, and so they are spending money on that health. They're going to yoga, they're eating better, they're doing those things that increase their lifestyle. Remember, they're not the ones that wanted to kind of just stay home and knit an Afghan. They wanted to go out and ride the Harley and go hiking and some of those things. That's what baby boomers want to do. And so make sure that you can show them how to spend their money on keeping their health and appearance young and vibrant. Very, 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 very important. Now, real quickly, we've gone through those 5 misconceptions. Hopefully something in there has resonated with you in your practice, and you've realized that you have some opportunity to provide some value for people, and at least looking at that segment. Now, if your head is spinning a little bit here and you're starting to think, well, maybe I'm missing the boat a little bit, keep in mind, we always have the option of the Dental Marketing Mastery program. It's such a great program. It's worked really, really well. We've had a lot of fun with a lot of practices. Every month we take 5 to 10 new practices, and we really dive in. It's 12 weeks, several hours of really intense training, coaching by myself, where you and I spend a lot of time taking these concepts and deploying them specifically into your market. It's a great opportunity for you to gain that marketing IQ that you need to make good decisions moving forward. Now, if that's something that you're interested in, you can check out dentalpracticeinsiders.com/DMM, or just email me, mike@dentalpracticeinsiders.com. Let's talk about it. Let's see if it's the right move for your practice. Again, you can do it from the comfort of your own office or your home. Have your partners join you, your whole team, your spouse, whatever. Let's make sure that you're on the right path when it comes to marketing, because again, there's so much potential. There's so much opportunity for your practice to leapfrog the competition, frankly, because this is the stuff that they don't know. They are still in that mindset of, I'm going to put an open sign on the door, and I'm going to just kind of hope and pray that people are at the practice and are going to come in through, even Yellow Book still. So anyways, thank you so much for joining us. Again, if you are listening on the podcast, you're missing out on the PowerPoint part of this presentation. So go to Facebook, join the page Dental Practice Insiders. That will have all the information as well as all the other trainings that we do. With that, thank you for joining me, and we will see you on the next webinar, where we're going to be talking about some of the basics and fundamentals that I can guarantee you 99% of all of your competition has zero clue about. And so, not hard to do, not expensive, but it's something that if you do, it'll have a massive impact and return on your practice. We'll see you on the next episode.